Hey there guys and girls, Mathis here and welcome back to another video. So today I've got some really important news for you. This is not usually the time I post my videos. My videos usually come out much later in the day, but I've got up especially as early this morning since I got bombarded with tweets and DMs and messages telling me that there were some pretty strong hotfixes for professions. Now, what are we talking about? Yes, unfortunately we are talking about the vendor shuffles that have been a really hot topic and a really nice little way for you to sort of burn through some of those extra resources you might have gathered. Blizzard have swooped in and they've made a whole, basically a whole pass across most of the vendor shuffles that we've found so far to dramatically reduce their impact on the game long term. So what are we talking about? Let's firstly take a look at what it is that Blizzard have been changing, and let's talk about how this may impact us. So you'll see in the recent hotfixes for today, professions, yes, increased the cost of the following reagents to 9 gold. Luminous Flux is going to be the big one. Penumbra Thread is going to be the other big one. Increasing the value of these two materials up from 5 gold up to 9 gold has made it dramatically more difficult for us to turn a profit when creating items and then just vendoring them. Now this has been a problem in the past. We saw this previously with the Relics of the Past system, that people caught a wind of the fact that you could create some items with Relic of the Past. That would then scale up their vendor value and then you could quite simply vendor them for a profit. That was a system that was squished before it ever even hit the live version of the game. But this time we're, what, 10 days into Shadowlands now, and people have been running around like crazy, buying the Shrouded Cloth, buying the Desolate Leather, buying the Pallid Bones, buying the Leystrite Ore, any price under a certain threshold so that they can spin it through their profession and vendor it out the other end and make some gold. It's been, I mean, I've done a couple of videos on it. There's many people across the YouTubes that have covered this, but it's not come to an end completely. It's just way less profitable to do now. So what has this done? If we remember rightly, Luminous Flux was previously 5 gold as default, and Penumbra Thread was recently 5 gold as default. Just increasing the gold value would not have been too much of a bad thing. But what they have also done, yes, they've also increased the amount of vendor reagent for several Shadowlands armor and weapon recipes. They've specifically targeted the ones that people were shuffling in large quantities, and they've increased the amount of reagents on them as well. Let's take a look at one in game, for example, one that was becoming pretty popular. It was probably the least used, I'd imagine. The Shrouded Cloth Cape was arguably the most common one, but the composite bow, I'm on my leatherworker, it makes sense for me to show you this one. This one has been dramatically increased. For example, it still uses the exact same amount of Desolate Leather and the exact same amount of Pallid Bones, 5 and 6 respectively, but you'll see now the Penumbra Thread has gone up to 8. Now add on top of the fact that not only have they increased the vendor value, they've also increased the value. At 9 gold a piece, 9 times 8, what's that, 72? So 72 gold of materials going straight into just the vendor side of this item. Now, when it vendors for 90, that doesn't leave you much room for error when it comes to the materials. You can still make something, but it really is now only a something. It's taken that price floor of what was for both leather and Pallid Bones from, I think, about 7 gold 20, I can't remember the exact numbers. It's taken that price floor all the way down to like quite literally like a gold and a half, 2 gold, a really low value. But it's actually, interestingly, bringing it in line to what we were seeing Blizzard implement with things like Tide Spray Linen in BFA. Blizzard want you to see some value in finding an item, taking it to your profession and doing something with it. They don't want to completely rip apart the system if they have to. They want to still make these materials at least somewhat valuable, especially since these are the core materials of a profession. Desolate Leather is available in large quantities, Pallid Bones available in large quantities. To most people at the moment, they're almost a byproduct of the fact that they're looking for the callous hide. They're looking for the heavy callous hide. That's what they're really after. But getting some bones, getting some leather at the same time should always still be a benefit to you. It shouldn't just be straight throw it in the bin. So there is still room to move here. What I've done in my cheat sheet you guys will know that I keep my cheat sheet available to you guys so that you can dive into here and you can see what's going on. I've made a few little changes to these right now. You're going to have to go back in and input your numbers for it. As you can see, I've changed things like, let's change our shopping list up. Let's say we now start buying shrouded cloth at 2 gold a piece. We just buy all the core materials at 2 gold a piece. You can see that at that 2 gold a piece threshold, you can, like, it literally breaks even. So it's now put the price from what was 8 gold down to about 2 gold for shrouded cloth. The bow, for example, if you get your materials at a cheap enough price, you can still spin a little bit of profit, but there's really not much room to move. The ceremonious blade, the one that hadn't really been highlighted too much, I'd not done a video on it myself. I know another couple of YouTubers had picked up on this, but this one is also being squished into the ground, so there's not a huge amount of options for this. But I've updated the sheet all the same, so you can still check before you decide what to do. Lastly though, what do I expect to see happen to these material prices, and what can we expect to see happening on the auction house today? Well, if you're watching this video on the day that I release it, expect large quantities of these materials to hit your auction house very, very quickly. Quite simply, there's going to be people out there that will have way oversupplied on these materials and not given themselves enough time to actually shuffle through all of this, and will probably still have guild banks full of the stuff. Now, they're going to be quite concerned for good reasons. Obviously, they're going to be quite concerned that they were buying it at, say, 8 gold. If the 8 gold threshold for cloth was there, if they were buying it for 6 gold, for example, now it's got a floor price of about 2 gold. They're obviously concerned that they've invested a lot of gold and they're going to try and get shot of it. So expect, in the next day or two, expect an absolute surge of these materials to hit the auction house, and expect those prices to crash virtually to the new floor price of what is, I've not done the exact maths, but it's a new floor price of roughly 2 gold for these base materials. What does it mean for the rest of the professions though? Well, it's in an interesting state right now. The price of callous hide and heavy callous hide is at an all-time high because of legendaries, and skinners are out there. They're skinning and skinning and skinning and skinning as fast as they humanly can right now to get these heavy callous hides. The callous hide is arguably one of the most sought after materials on the auction house right now. It incentivizes them less to do it when they were still able to get a good 6-7 gold for each of the basic materials that they were getting. It meant that they were they still made a reasonable amount of gold per hour regardless of what they were actually. If they didn't get many of that heavy callous hide, it wasn't the worst thing that could happen because they still made a reasonable amount of the basic materials. The problem with this though is it's really going to de-incentivize those people to be going out and skinning right now, and worst case scenarios, it could even push the prices of the rare materials up even higher as less and less people decide that, well, it's just not going to be worth my time now. To make it worth my time, I'm going to have to charge more on the rare materials. So expect some weird things happening in the next few days. But I'll leave those thoughts with you guys. Let me know what your comments are down below. I really do hope you didn't stockpile too heavily for this one, and I really hope that if you did get in on the shuffle before it got hotfixed, that you made a bunch of gold from it while it lasted. I'm going to be streaming for the rest of the day, guys, so if you're watching this when the video just comes out, I'm probably live right now. So check out the other videos on the channel. I stream here right on YouTube, so you'll probably see the live video at the end of this one. But guys, I'll leave you with that. I've been Mantheus, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.